brief history of X-Kaliber 2097. So, while we're playing X-Kaliber 2097 this week, something you may not have known is that the game is only X-Kaliber 2097 in the United States. In fact, in Japan, the game has an entirely different story and goes under the other name of Sword Maniac. Something else really interesting is that actually in the Japanese version of the game, it has an entirely different soundtrack, where in the United States version of the game, they made an effort to heavily promote Psychosonic making the soundtrack, and it was on marketing materials, it had a place in the manual, and it was even on the box. Both games seemingly take place in Neo New York, whatever that means, but apparently the characters are entirely different. They're named entirely different. They have entirely different story plots between the two games. For some reason, they decided to make the US version and the Japanese version completely different, even though it has the same essential gameplay. X-Kaliber 2097, also Sword Maniac, was released in Japan and North America in February of 1994. It didn't reach Europe until December later that year. And while it was published by Activision, it was co-developed by Fupak and Wins, which are both Japanese development studios. Interestingly enough, both of these companies are still around. Wins has contributed to things like Pokemon Scarlet and Death Stranding in recent years. As a final note on price charting, this game goes for about $24 loose and has only gone up in price since 2013. What happened in 2013 we'll never know, but it's not that valuable. So there you have it. There's a brief history of X-Kaliber 2097 for the Super Nintendo. Let's see what everybody thought.
What is up, everybody? As you saw by Shadowloo's great little history lesson, we're going to be talking about X-Kaliber 2097 today, which was my pick to the list and one of my many regrets.
Which was a game. It was one of your many regrets? You regret putting that on the list?
One of my many regrets.
Well, we're supposed to go through the list and play some good or bad games.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some real good games and there's going to be some real stinkers on there. And this one, fortunately for me, falls somewhere closer to the stinker.
You know what's funny about this is, like, this game, there are some things in it already that I'm like, yeah, I would go back and finish this for sure. Like, there's some stuff where I'm like, this is an interesting take on the kind of traditional 2D platformer.
I don't hate it. Okay.
Yeah. You know what's weird about it? Like, I was trying to think of like how to describe this game, and it feels like a fighting game, but you can move through an entire level.
Right.
Like, yeah. I don't know any other way to sort of describe that, because it's like you have multiple moves with your sword. You can do different like maneuvers and junk, but then so like when you're in a boss fight, it makes sense because it feels like a fighting game.
Yeah.
But in the whole of the level, it's kind of like weird. It's like
it feels like one of those reskins that they tried doing with like a really, really crappy version of like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, but like you said, through side-scrolling platform in between. So
yeah, it's strange to say the least. It's experimental.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate the game. I was more excited to play it than I should have been, though. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you guys so much for stopping in. It's great to see everybody. We got a couple people in here. Is that the Josh? Is that Diablo?
Yeah, that's Diablo.
That is Diablo. Yeah. Okay,
Chaos
I'm so used to seeing Diablo and Chaos. Yep.
But
everybody else that is here is so great. Sorry we are so late. We had some technical difficulties, but we are here now to talk about this.
And by we, he means Shadowloos.
Dumpster fire.
Did anyone of you stream this last week? I didn't. No. You didn't want us to stream this. This is a game that I could really sit down and play for a good 37 minutes.
Well,
and I'm like, I want to play something else.
Yeah, I played it. Yeah, I was probably around there. I was probably like 30 minutes to an hour or something. I was kind of going through and messing with it. And it's like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's one of those games that you get the gist of it real quick. Like,
Yeah.
is what it is. Like
nothing. You're not going to be surprised by anything later on in this game.
Yeah,
like
no.
you play the first couple levels, you've got the mechanics down, you've got the elements, you know what you're doing. You don't need any more.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't really know how to describe it because it is like one of those games that is like it could have been really good, like had a lasting thing, but it just like it was not fleshed out in a way that like made any lasting impression. Like, yes, I would love to go back and play.
I actually own this game. And
do you really?
Yeah, right here. And part of me was like, I could probably go ahead and sell that now.
I'll take it. I'll trade you. So I don't know. It's like I probably have some equally stupid that you might like that I could.
You could send me empty packaging, and I'd be happy.
Empty pack. Okay. I'll send you the bubble mail with a label in it, so you
there
can
we go.
Back.
Pop the bubbles.
Yeah, right.
It'd be more entertaining than this game was.
Well, you showed his history lesson, which is very interesting. If you want, you could just go ahead and throw mine up there, and I'll give a little powwow about it.
Let's do it. We are behind on time, so we kind of got to. This is going to be a shorter episode than normal. This is going to be a shorter episode than normal, and that's perfectly fine.
All right, this is how much I was happy about this game. I didn't do any effects on my video. I didn't do an opening. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any green screens.
Wow,
it's just like go into this.
So hold on.
So now look, I edited this after I tried playing through a second time, and I was just so done with it. I'm like, you know what? Let me just put a video together. I'm not doing any of the bells and whistles. Let's just talk. Let's just put it together, and we'll talk about it. And that's just going to be it.
So is X-Kaliber 2097 going to be your guys' Alien 3? What Alien 3 was to me, it's X-Kaliber 2097.
Could be because like the thing is like with Alien 3, I got further in the game because I was excited to play it. After the first few times, I was like, I can get this. I can do this. And it was a challenge that I wanted to overcome. I didn't, but I wanted to. After I played X-Kaliber 2097 the first time, I was like, I really don't want to have to play that again for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Diablo says, do we have Shadowloo's Rage clip this week?
No.
We don't.
You're going to hear me. You'll probably hear me rant more than Shadowloo's.
Okay, yeah.
And that's okay. But let's go ahead and watch Freedom's gameplay video and go from there.
Rage clip is important, definitely. Yeah, the controls were very wonky on this for me. You know, I got the aspect of the blocking like right off the bat, but it was almost like half of the time, like those guys shoot standing and then they also shoot lower. So if you're one of the things I had to figure out right off the bat was you had to block either up or down, like crouch and block. It was very glitchy. The controls could have been better. You did have a handful of attacks that you could do. But if you did any of the super attacks or the special attacks, like that right there, like by the time I got done blocking, it literally, like, when you block, it holds you for a second to where I couldn't do anything. And with the boss fights, both of the boss fights, I got up to the third boss, but I didn't show any gameplay of that. But it was like, you know, you had a very small time frame of being able to hit the boss before he shot back and like attacked you, and their attack is like 3 times more powerful than yours, so you have to literally hack away. And yeah, you see I have to literally like almost let him walk towards you, have just enough time to get right next to him and hit, and then it shoots you back, you know. The music wasn't really anything, you know, it sounded like a lot of the same stuff when it came to the music. You know, the enemies, they threw the enemies at you. It was like swing and block until, you know, the enemy leaves an opening. You know, it was very limited. You know, I definitely wouldn't play this again. You know, I mean, if someone was to suggest it on stream, I would do it just to do that. But it wasn't really anything to write home about. You know, most of it was daunting just having to even think about playing this. So I tried going through it secondary times a day, and it was literally like even on this, like any attack, the bosses block everything.
Yeah.
And you literally have to wait for them to come up onto you and then stop blocking and swing for a quick second, and it was just like right here, you can see I literally have to wait for the enemy to come onto me, and then get right next to me and pray that my attack actually works. You know what I mean? So yeah, most of that was pretty much the same stuff. Some of the hitboxes, you know, you get locked in when you're blocking. Like this guy right here, like lit me up. Like I lost probably 2 different lives on that guy right there alone. Just because of when they shoot at you, like I said, it locks you in when you're trying to block. So, and my last main gripe is this part right here when you're climbing up the scaffolding. Let's get and skip that for a second. These bosses weren't really too bad. I mean, something different, but you know,
that part sucks.
Yeah. So right here, these robotic jet guys, whatever the hell they are, knocked me down so many times because they come in so fast, and when you block, it literally pushes you back. Like right here, it blocks and you drop all the way down. Like that happened to me like 5 times back to back, and that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm just like right there. I'm just like done, dude. So I got to the boss fight. I lost all the rest of my lives in the boss fight, and that was pretty much it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know, that's one of the reasons why we have this podcast, so we can play the games, test the games, so you guys don't have to.
So. I will say the boss blocking was super annoying. It was like
yes, dude.
There was never any good opening to like make an attack. And I was thinking about this again. I know this is like Super Nintendo. This game definitely feels experimental. The one thing that I think would have been really cool, similar to something like Elden Ring or Dark Souls games, but if you were to block at the right time to basically counter, to make them open up, for them to go and stagger or something, so you can get
Casey, thank you so much for stopping in, man. It's great to see you, buddy.
I want to address something that Freedom said during his gameplay video. He said that he would play this again if somebody suggested it on stream. If somebody suggests this on my stream, you're getting blocked.
Yeah, I would do it just to show the rage, but I would not pick this myself. Absolutely. Lady Nova just popped in. How you doing there, hon?
It's so weird because this game to me, it's funny that you guys are taking this turn, and maybe it's just because I got to hold a Super Nintendo controller again, and I was really happy about that. But like, it's so much so just feels like game. It feels like one of those games that was on a store shelf that was not tied to any pre-existing IP or big name, and it's like it was the thing your grandmother got you for Christmas because she's like, I don't know, X-Kaliber, it sounds medieval or some shit, and it like bought you that, and it's like that's what you had to play. Like I see, there's nothing exciting about it, but it's also not like a dumpster fire either, in my opinion. It's just,
if my grandma had bought me this game for Christmas as a kid, I probably would enjoy it more now because it would have that nostalgia factor. But for somebody who like has no nostalgia factor for this game, it's garbage. And if you enjoy it, that must be why.
Oh, I gotta tell you something that I did. Okay, I did science with this. Maybe it's more math, but so you know, there's a countdown timer in the level, right?
It's so off. It is not even accurate.
It is not on a per second basis. So I filmed my stopwatch while putting it up against footage. And I found out that every 1 second, one number in game time is 3 seconds in real time.
Oh, wow.
So, why you want to do that? I don't know. But if the level starts with 60 seconds, it basically means you have 3 minutes.
You know what they could have done? Just not put a timer.
Right.
The timer was dumb.
No need whatsoever.
First of all, by the time you get to the end of the level, you're not out of time. You've got time.
But it's still like, I want to ask the original developers on this, like, what was the mindset between, you know what? I bet you I can guess why they did it that way. Because they wanted to do something like 3 minutes, but they couldn't afford the screen real estate to do 3 digits. So 99 would have been the maximum number that they could have. And so they said, well, let's just increment the amount of time it takes for that number to count down.
Right.
I bet you that's what it was.
I have a lot of questions for the developers of this game, and that's not even one of them.
I almost think this probably started as a fighting game, not a platformer. Because in the boss fights, it makes sense. Normal fighting games have a timer
it feels like a fighting game in the boss fights.
Yeah. So that's what I'm like. Because you have the 2 health bars, so you can see boss health. It has the timer. Like, so much of it seems like a fighting game that they're like, hey, what if we also put a level in there somewhere?
Right.
And it's like
kind
the
of
level was
expanded a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had they not put the level in there, and this would have been just like a straight fighting game, I never would have played it, and I would have all that time back in my life.
Casey says, been busy lately when you guys stream. Sorry, I've missed you guys. Casey, you're good there, buddy. You know, we all have lives. We have stuff going on, man. Absolutely, man. It's just great to have you here.
Yep.
Like, honestly, I think I've put more work into developing stuff for the podcast, such as like overlays for my stream and like the new intro video and thumbnail. And I spent more time doing that stuff than I did actually playing this game.
It sounds like we're working on live access to TikTok, right?
We are.
I'll be all over that.
I'm trying to get on that too.
Trying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Slumma, you want to show some gameplay yourself?
I mean, I guess.
He's like, I suppose.
If I have to, we will. Get ready for your eardrums to get blown out, guys. All right, so you're not going to see much different than what you saw on Freedoms because we made it to about the same point before we both hated the game. First of all, your movement in this game is not very fluid. And there's certain attacks that when you do them, you have to wait like a couple seconds before you
feels
can
like
attack
forever,
again.
dude.
It does. And the best way I figured out to fight these bosses is honestly to jump slash. And just like that. It hits them every time.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't want to have to do that every, like, that's makes the boss fight boring and dumb. I couldn't figure out how to get that thing up there.
Me neither.
But
yeah, I tried that too. That's so funny. All three of us tried that. We have no idea how to get it.
Like, I still don't know how. I mean, the platforming part of this game wasn't that bad. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. But then the boss fights were trash. I hated the boss fights. I thought they were dumb.
I will say one thing: the backgrounds were cool. The like world backgrounds looked pretty good.
The game looks good.
Else was trashy.
The game looks good. It kind of has like a Comic Zone feel to it, in the way it like is designed. But they did not make this game as well as Comic Zone was made. And you can you don't have to block. You can slash their bullets and they just disappear.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I found that out during my gameplay, but it was still just stupid. This guy is a piece of trash, and this is where I left off.
He looks like a wannabe Kingpin from like Daredevil, wannabe Kingpin.
They all did. I was laughing at the whole like Neo New York thing because it's like there's just this inherent depiction of like what the future looked like in like the 80s and 90s, and it was always just super trashy, awful, and like honestly it wasn't even that futuristic. It's just everybody became either a punk or super rich, and it made no sense. And it's like all the bosses were like a fat dude in a suit with a cane. Like that was always the head of an organization, a bad guy organization.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, look at the Penguin. So
yeah, this checked all those boxes. So I don't know.
But yeah, this game, like, if you've never played this game, don't. You're not missing anything at all.
Yeah, nothing is missed. I will agree with that.
Like, even the good parts of this game aren't good. They're just mediocre, but the bad parts make them seem way better than they are.
Yeah, I will 100% agree that you're not missing anything. I mean, basically, I liked some of the moving backgrounds and stuff, the parallax scrolling backgrounds. They looked really nice. But this game desperately needs a double jump or at least a double tap to run or something. Like, I hated walking through this whole thing.
It needs more fluid fighting.
Yeah,
like
for
the
fighting game,
part of this,
it needs better fighting.
Yeah, I mean, like, for somebody who's going around fighting with a sword, you're not very nimble.
Yeah. You're not at all. Oh, but did you see that its sword is so sharp it can cut through steel like rancid butter?
But they can block
that
it.
Line,
but they can block it with a cane.
I know. Right. I mean, why? So another thing that's mind-boggling, it boggles the brain. Why rancid butter? Is rancid butter somehow like less thick and than regular butter? Is there?
You would feel like it would like dry out and get harder.
Yeah, I don't know. But very specific.
I'm gonna leave a stick of butter out.
I wonder if that was a translation thing. Maybe that was a translation.
I feel like it could have been a translation thing.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, you want to rate this baby? I mean, you want to rate this puppy?
Freedom's on the rush. Let's go.
I mean, we can rate it. All right, guys. Let's Let's rate this thing.
I just want.
You just want to what, Freedom?
I'm not
Finish
trying
that
to
thought.
rush. I just know that we're trying to. Well, we were discussing on having a little bit more of a discussion after we rate this, and then we
Yeah.
get our next
Sure.
game to.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I went ahead and placed this one in C as a placeholder. That is no indication of how I feel about the game. With that being said, I give it a D.
Yeah, here's kind of how I feel about it. Like very, very, very briefly. Everything about it is just mid, and that does not mean that I think it gets a mid-tier rating like a C or a B. Because honestly, like in terms of wanting to play this, it is very low. Like there's no reason, as we mentioned, there's no reason to really go back to this. And if you haven't played it, there's no real reason to play it. It's not like there's a single interesting mechanic that the entire game based around that it's like, oh, dude, you got to at least try it out once. There's none of that. The music's mid, the gameplay's mid. It's a short game. Like there's really not that much that's like interesting. So from a replayability standpoint, like I stand with a D. Feels fine to me. I would have a hard time ranking it anything above that.
I would totally agree with you on the D aspect because, like you were saying, the gameplay leaves so much more to be desired. It looks like the way Shadowloo was talking about it, it was almost like they had an idea, and then it could have been a fighting game, and like Shadowloo said, like the side-scrolling level aspect was like an afterthought. So it's like make it one or make it the other, and at least whatever you pick it should be, stick with that and work on that.
And I want y'all to know, I went into this low C, and the more I talked about it, the worse I hated it.
That's usually
I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Like the more we started talking about it, I was like, yeah, this game really does piss me off.
Yeah.
So
Freedom, did you settle with a D as well? Do you feel like
settle with it?
Okay,
yep, I said a D.
Like,
yep, absolutely.
Like Shadowloo has said a couple times, like I don't feel it deserves an F because it's not a broken game.
Right.
Yeah, it's not broken.
It's not a good game. Like there's games in that D category that I would rather play than this game. So like it has to be in a D.
F would not only have to give me the same feelings I have around this game specifically, but then it would also have to have broken elements to it. And
I wouldn't mind seeing Shadowloo and get his opinion on how he feels about Ninja 5.0.
I mean,
Ninja 5.0 is a really good game.
It is a real good game.
Throw it my way. We'll see. I can play it. I'll tell you what. I'll make a deal. You acquire that live access to TikTok. That'll be the first thing stream. I'll be the first one to stream it. And I'll stream that.
Here we go.
There you go.
Nice.
I can do it.
Okay.
To give us a little bit of time for so the idea of Shadowloo was we were going to talk about some of the games that were revealed. If you want to discuss that.
Yeah, sure. The Xbox showcase specifically what you guys are talking about.
I know you said you haven't watched it yet, but you're not really missing anything.
I've been saving it. So
you're not really missing anything. All they talked about were games that we already knew were coming, I feel like.
Okay.
And there's a couple things that I'm excited about as far as the like me and Freedom before the stream started, we were watching the new trailer for State of Decay 3. My hope is that it's more like more co-op, because State of Decay 2 was not very co-op. You could play co-op, but only for a short period of time.
Very limited, yeah.
We had two separate worlds, and he could come over from his world to my world until his character got tired and he had to go back.
Right.
I'm hoping it's more of like a shared server type thing.
We'll see. That's what it sounds like.
If you've never played State of Decay 2, it's great.
So believe it or not, really I have. Fun. I've beaten it. It sucked me in. And I was like, dude, this is really cool. This is not a series I ever would have picked up. But thanks to Game Pass. Game Pass came out and this was on it. So I was like, cool.
And if we do get live access on First Round Showdown, when this game comes out, we could stream it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would totally co-stream it. The thing was for me,
Chaos, State of Decay 3 is what we're talking about. We're talking about some of the access or some of the announcements from the Xbox reveal.
But State of Decay 2, the only thing that got me was there's basically no end game. You kind of just complete the story, and it's just like, okay, enjoy. And you're like, shoot, there's nothing else to do. Which
and each time you beat the game with, there were 4 gameplay styles, like ideas of, like, one was working on your being there. What was there? 4 different classes your character could be, or you can select as your
something like that.
As your leader. You can have the mechanic type of guy. You can have the sheriff. One was like inventory, which was basically like a farmer, and then I think there was one other one, but each one
there's like a medical person one there.
Something like that, yeah. So, like, if you beat the game, and you get the sheriff's card, if you can select 2 cards out of the 4 that it gives you, for your next playthrough. So the sheriff gave you a bunch of weapons in your cache as soon as you got your very first world or your very first house, along with a bunch of ammo. One was I think it was the builder. They automatically had electricity and water in all of your places without having to have any outposts. Mm-hmm. And then there was like 2 or 3 others. One was like you had every single day at a certain time, each day you had a vendor come to your house. You know what I mean? So they definitely opened it up a little bit more. But like Shadowloo says, I'm looking forward to it to where it's more actual co-op if you want to play a co-op.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It looks it looks good from what I mean, obviously it wasn't a gameplay trailer, it was just a trailer, but
yeah,
I
feel like that little thing that we watched. I feel like that little thing that we watched was a mesh between possible some gameplay, because when it showed the girl using her handgun and it was like over the shoulder, it looked like she was aiming like she was like somebody was playing the game. So I feel like it could be a little bit of that gameplay.
It definitely got me excited. Fortunately, there's no release date yet. It'll probably be out sometime next year.
Yeah. Can I talk about the one thing I did see? The one actual thing I did see? So hardware, specifically hardware. So they announced. Well, they mentioned that Phil Spencer talked about a handheld and said they think they should have a handheld and they like handhelds. So possible Xbox handheld coming down the line, which is interesting. I guarantee it'll be something very similar to like a Steam Deck or the PlayStation Portal.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
It has to be. Yeah. Be very. So the question is, will it be a handheld to where it requires hardware to stream? Like it's basically just a screen with a controller that you can play in your house, or is it a standalone thing like a Steam Deck? I don't know, but the new Xboxes. So
2 terabytes.
They still have the white Series S that's now a terabyte, which it desperately needed. I've got a friend who's got a 500 gig one, and he's like, dude, I always need storage on this thing. I have to uninstall a game to install a game, and it's killing him.
Yeah, well, I mean, Call of Duty is going to be like Freedom was saying, like 300 gigabytes just to install it.
It's nuts.
If that's true, that's the one article I saw today. If it's true, it said it was like 306 gigabytes just to download onto your system.
It is insane. They are out of control. They should not be allowed to do that ever. So there's that as their entry. Now they have a white discless Series X, which is interesting. I did not think they would have had that tier, but it also kind of just goes into the discless, territory. And then
it's also not very expensive.
It's a little bit cheaper than the disc. It's $449. Yeah, I think it's $50 cheaper than the disc version.
I mean, the disc version is going to be obsolete in a year anyway, so
it will. But the thing is that at least with the disc version, the main thing in my mind, which I struggle with it on my Series X, is that this is now 2 terabytes versus the 1 terabyte. And I'm like, oh heck yes, I need, because honestly, you look at the storage, the expansions and how expensive they are, and it's like, for me to get another terabyte, it's like, oh, that's 1/3 of a new Series X. Like I would almost rather just buy the 2 terabyte Series X,
right,
and have an extra console sitting here, So,
or you could sell this one and get a new one for $200.
Nah, and I warned people on my Discord that it wasn't a warning, but yesterday was Best Buy's deal of the day was the Xbox Series X was $100 off, and I was like, that is the cheapest version of the most backwards compatible console that has a disk drive that I guarantee the next generation will not have a disk drive. So it's like this to me. I honestly I honestly, you can swear me, write it on my grave, whatever you want. I think the Xbox Series X that's out right now that has a disk drive is probably going to be the last physical drive console that has as much backwards compatibility as it does. Like, I think this will be a sought after console years down the line.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the new Xbox, the 2 terabyte, it's got like the splatter design that they showed. That one looks really nice. I think it's like
it's a Galaxy Black. Galaxy Black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a picture and I'll pull it up and share it.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. You know, people can say whatever they want. I know the Xbox hardware is very obelisk. It's very 2001 Space Odyssey kind of, look to it, but I think it's kind of pretty when you look at most like modern furniture, like in our theater room, like to have one of those there versus like a PlayStation 5. I'd rather have the Xbox, to be honest with you. I think the PlayStation 5 is a little goofy looking in my opinion, but not that it needs to be a box. I like weird hardware, but it's just like you can't even set it on its side without having the weakest, horrible plastic stands. I don't know. So
I mean,
the Series X is pretty good though. I will say I enjoy its obelisk.
So this is on Xbox's website. You can see this one here on the right. It's got like the splatter design in the green. That's nice, and that's 2 terabyte, and it's got a disc.
Oh, I see.
Drive.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice it. So it's got like a green base now, and then there's a green backing on the controller.
Yep, and it's got like the splatter design, and it's got the disc drive. That will be the last disc drive console.
I will say that they said this is a limited edition, so I would not be surprised if this just goes bye-bye, and all you're gonna have are those 2 white consoles right there.
Right.
Yeah, but it is like if I could justify buying one, I would.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody loves us saying it, but physical media is dead, man. So I mean, it's look, and like here's the argument that I'll make too. So I knew it the moment I saw it on shelves that Sony is now selling the disc drive as a separate accessory. Like you buy it individually to add it to digital consoles if you want it. Because what they're going to start doing is they're going to start selling PS5s or PS6s or whatever without disc drives. And they're going to go, oh, well, if you want a disc drive, you can just buy the disc drive accessory. Right. Eventually, they'll just not make the disc drive accessory. And all they'll have is digital consoles. And that'll be that. So it's how it's going to be. I'm telling you.
Will the disc drive be backwards compatible? Because Sony really just drops the ball on backwards compatibility.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean,
they're not good at that.
They've had leadership for years that think old Sony games are like, why would anybody play that? I mean, I could literally dig up the quote that somebody's like, have you seen Gran Turismo 1 graphics? Why would anybody ever want to play that again? And it's
why do we still own it? It's back there on the shelf.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. They don't understand that. And I'm so happy that at least you say what you will about Phil Spencer and recent layoffs and everything, but I'm so happy that they at least had somebody for as long as they did that's like, we need to focus on game preservation because the backwards catalog on Xbox is actually awesome. I mean, there's over like 650
You know who
games.
really is terrible at game preservation? Nintendo.
Nintendo is going to say, hey, you remember that game 20 years ago? Well, we just remastered it and chucked it on the Switch, rather than just make it easy to play. So
I don't know. I'm gonna be collecting hard copies for as long as I can, at least.
Oh yeah. We'll
see.
I think I'm over it honestly for the most part. I think I'm done. I don't need new ones.
Another game that they announced on the summer showcase was called South of Midnight. I don't know if anybody's seen anything besides what they showed last night. That game looks phenomenal. It kind of gives me the Horizon Forbidden West vibe, but in like Louisiana.
Yeah, like the swamps of Louisiana.
In the swamps. We were watching before Shadowloose got in because he was having issues. We watched the trailer for that. That looks like it's gonna be out like this year, towards the end of the year. But it looks really good.
Actually, it says ahead of its launch in 2025.
2025. What else?
It says shows off the first gameplay trailer during the show ahead of its launch in 2025.
That's fine. And it's made by the same company that made We Happy Few.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Which I
propulsion
still,
games.
we were talking about that. I've still yet to play that. I have it downloaded, but I
It's a
still
weird
have never
game.
played that. I know it is.
We
I
have
know
we
it's.
have a few is weird.
Yeah.
I enjoyed what I played of it though, but like this game looks really good and like South of Midnight looks fantastic, and I'm excited. To play it.
I might have to stream this showcase tonight or something because there's a lot of stuff on here that it's like I see that there's like trailers and I'm like I would love to just see them. There's a lot of stuff I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I will say it is so weird to see like Diablo and World of Warcraft announcements just being Microsoft announcements now. Like it's not a Activision Blizzard separate company thing. It's like, oh, Microsoft owns those guys.
Why is Fallout 76 getting a DLC?
Dude, because they have for years.
They're still pushing it, yeah.
Fallout 76 is basically an MMO. Like it is extremely successful, whether you like it or not. That game is really, really successful.
I've just heard horrible. I've never really played it that much. I've heard horrible things about it though.
I will say this. I mean, it had a rough launch, and I understand what they were going for.
That's when I played it, and it was like I did not enjoy it. Now, a lot of people were saying when I was streaming before, like last week or the week before there, I've had a handful of people tell me that it's like so much better now. So
oh yeah, it's very focused around cooperative gameplay. I mean, it's basically Fallout 4, but co-op on a larger scale, and you can play it in a whole different area with tons of different expansions and other areas to go to, and you can nuke areas of the map. I mean, there's a lot of like interesting, fun things to it now. So it's worth a second shot if
and there were some they announced Gears of War E-Day, which is kind of cool to see Gears of War getting back in its little thing.
See, and I'm seeing Age of Mythology retold. I want to see the gameplay on that because Age of Mythology is awesome. So
I hope this is the last Assassin's Creed game though.
Did they announce some Assassin's Creed game?
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh my god, there's no amount of interest in anything Assassin's Creed to me.
Yeah,
me neither. No. I'm not looking forward to that at all. I mean, they're all.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. Go ahead.
No, well, I'm not. I was trying to switch the topic from Assassin's Creed. Indiana Jones.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like I want it.
Looks phenomenal.
Oh god, I want to see it so bad. And see Fable too. Like, oh man. Okay, I just gotta watch this thing tonight. I gotta watch it tonight because I'm missing out.
I'm excited for Indiana Jones.
Yeah, totally. I guarantee that's going to be a killer. Machine Games,
fantastic.
The Wolfenstein games are so much fun, and those were all done by Machine Games. So if it's basically Wolfenstein but Indiana Jones, it's like perfect.
I think the big takeaway from this whole showcase is I think about 80% of the stuff that they talked about is going to be Game Pass day one.
Yep, that's
maybe
crazy.
So, it's more proof that Xbox is trying to get into being the Netflix of video games.
Microsoft is all in on services. You have to understand that is their future, and that is why they do not care if you got a disc drive on their console or not. And that's not even just a Microsoft thing. Sony wants to be that. Nintendo, I guarantee, wants to be that. If they had the infrastructure and the know-how to do it today, Nintendo would have done it already.
I have to say, though, I would run out tomorrow and buy another cartridge-based console.
Yeah. I mean, the Switch 2 probably will be if they're going to have anything to do with backwards compatibility. There's no reason why they couldn't put a cartridge slot in there. But
all right, guys, we got about 6 minutes left. Y'all ready to see what we're playing next?
Let's roll it. Did you put something on there to replace it?
I did. I replaced it with Bucky O'Hare.
Which one?
For the NES.
Okay, because I was gonna say they have a arcade cabinet that's pretty halfway decent too. So
yeah, it's definitely the one for the NES. Let's go wheel time. Alrighty, let's go ahead and give this about 800 spins or shuffles. And then
still a lot of games that it's been on there since day one.
A lot. Where are we at? Not fan vote. Brave Fencer Musashi. No.
Got
Hell
it.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh my god. A PlayStation 1 game? A game that is mine? Really? I don't believe it.
Hang on. Just for the record, the last time a PlayStation 1 game got picked by Shadowloos, it got the S rank.
That's right. I can already tell you. I mean, I can already create a bullet list of everything Slow-Mo is going to complain about. Ooh, should I do a Slow-Mo complaint bingo card? And
put it up on the list.
On the podcast, as he does stuff, I can reveal at the end of us talking about Brave Fencing Musashi. I can see if I got bingo or not. I should do that.
I've been looking forward to this, Shads, because once you said something about it, I kind of looked into it, and it was like, dude, I can't wait for this to come up. I'm so excited to try it.
So this is definitely like a game, just size wise. I'm like, yeah, I would not expect anybody to be able to beat this like within a week unless you're just constantly playing it. But it's definitely worth like going through the first few like chapters just to figure out gameplay.
So now, what kind of game is this?
It's an action. It's an action RPG.
It's an RPG.
It's I wouldn't even really call it like an RPG because it very much so is an action RPG. Like you're running in a 3D world with two different swords, hacking, slashing, doing stuff like that. It's not like I need to put points in dexterity and points into this and points into whatever. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. But the characters, the world is all really fun. It's a Squaresoft game and it has famous voice actors. And Mona Marshall is the voice of Brave Fencer Musashi, and she did voices for South Park and a bunch of other stuff. So
nice.
It's voice acted. There are cutscenes, so that's obviously bingo card material right there. It's maybe not even cutscenes; it's dialogue. There's talking between characters.
Yeah, that's gonna be like the free space on the bingo card.
It's kind of funny. They takes place in the all-you-can-eat kingdom, and everybody's name is something food related, and it's goofy. It's one of those games that's like I don't know how this got made. But it's really fun.
What's the gameplay time on this?
I think it's probably like
20 hours. Probably.
Yeah, it's 20 hours or something like that. That's why I'm like, you probably won't beat it in a week, but it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games that it was a single disc game, but it came in a dual case.
Okay.
Squaresoft, they gotta have bigger.
They gotta have the big stuff. Yeah.
I think it had a demo in it. I think it was a Final Fantasy
16 hours.
16 hours.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
For a PS1 Squaresoft game, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
But hell yes, dude. Oh, I've been dying for Brave Fencer Musashi for so long now.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm excited about this game, but I can't say I'm not excited about this game.
Yeah, like I said, once you put it on the list, and like as soon as we were done the podcast, I was looking into it, and I'm like, wow, this looks interesting. I can't wait to play this.
So it's not linear, so you get to kind of go in back and forth kind of through certain areas. And your two different swords, you have a regular slashing sword, and then the other one kind of absorbs abilities from bad guys. So you get to use their ability like in the world. So there's a pogo sticky guy that you might need to jump over spiky plants, and there's kind of cool little things like that. But I love this game. So
looks good.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I think that's us tying one on. I think that's it for us for the episode. A little bit late today, but that's okay. We love all you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Looking forward to this next week's game.
All right.
Are you guys going to be ready?
No.
Yep.
I am very ready. Oh,
actually,
we have 2
weeks.
Next
week we're not here.
We have 2 weeks. I'm on vacation. Slow-Mo's doing something.
Okay. Yeah, so... Well, we'll try to squeeze in whatever we can. So we will be out of here next week. So we're coming back in 2 weeks from now.
I'll be streaming this on my channel for sure. So it's like if you want to see running through it, I will totally do it.
It's better than 2 weeks because this is a longer game. So
yeah,
that's cool. We'll give it the old college try.
I'll try to hop on the channel at some point in the next 2 weeks,
and hopefully within the next 2 weeks we might be able to start streaming on TikTok.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I would love that.
We shall see.
We're trying.
I know.
So everybody, thank you guys so much for being here. That is tonight's episode. You guys have a good rest of your week. We will see you in 2 weeks, and we will see you in between the 2 weeks because we love you guys.
Well, I gotta talk to you all as soon as we get done here.
All right. That's it. Thank you guys in 2 weeks. Adios.
All right. Bye. Let me hit the end stream button.